Hi there! So ngayon magbibigay ako ng additional video tutorial for the grade 9 students. But before that, please follow me on my Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you! In this video tutorial, I will teach you about modeling, representing, and transforming quadratic functions. So what is quadratic function? It is a second-degree polynomial represented as f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, or y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, wherein a is not equal to 0 and a, b, and c are real numbers. You can solve different problems that involves quadratic function in real-life situations such as building structures, computing the maximum height or minimum point of an object by reach, analyzing the movement of an object, and etc. Here are some examples of situations that models quadratic functions in real-life situations. First, targets an object in upward direction. Second, throwing an object downward. Third, shooting ball vertically upward. Fourth, minimum point submarine to submerge. And last is launching rocket to its maximum point. So iyan po ang mga halimbawa ng quadratic functions in real-life situations. On the following equations, which represent quadratic functions and which are not? So we have the given equation y is equal to x squared minus 4x minus 10. So as you can see, the highest exponent here is 2. Therefore, this is an example of quadratic function. Next, y is equal to 2x minus 5. In here, the highest exponent is 1. Therefore, that is not an example of quadratic function. Next, y is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2. The highest exponent here is 3. Therefore, this is not an example of quadratic function, but this is an example of cubic equation. Last, y is equal to 3x squared minus 4x plus 1. The highest exponent is 2, so this is an example of quadratic functions. We have the given table of values for the x and y. So for us to determine if this is an example of quadratic functions, we will just have to plot the given ordered pairs on our Cartesian plane. So let us have the first ordered pair, negative 2, negative 3. So negative 2 of x and negative 3 of y coordinate. So let us plot the point and then name this as negative 2, negative 3. Next is negative 1, negative 1. So let us plot the point and then name this as negative 1, negative 1. Next, 0, 1. As you can see, the value for the x-coordinate is 0, so magpa-fall ang ating point sa eksaktong y-axis. So let us plot the point and then name this as 0, 1. Next is 1, 3. So ayan yung point ng 1, 3. And the last is 2, 5. 2 of x and 5 of y. And then let us now connect the dots so we form a line. As you can see, we formed a straight line. So this is not an example of quadratic function. Another example for the table of values. So let us again plot the points. First ordered pair, negative 2, positive 7. So negative 2 of x coordinate and then positive 7 of y coordinate. So let us plot the point and then name this as negative 2, 7. Next is negative 1, positive 2. So dito magpo-fall yung ating point and then name this as negative 1, 2. Next is 0, negative 1, 0 of x and negative 1 of y. So magpo-fall siya sa eksaktong y-axis. And then next is positive 1, positive 2. So let us plot the point. And then last is 2 of x and y of and 7 of y. And then name this as 2, 7. Let us now connect the dots. As you can see, we didn't form a straight line here. So that is an example of quadratic function. The graph of a quadratic function is called a parabola. So yung na-form natin kanina ay halimbawa ng parabola. If the given graph formed parabola, that is an example of quadratic function. But if the graph formed a straight line, that is not an example of quadratic function, but a linear equation. It has different properties including vertex, axis of symmetry, opening of the parabola, and the intercepts. So we have this given graph, this tip, and this tip is called the opening of the parabola. This center or these broken lines is called the axis of symmetry. So nagfall ang ating parabola in these points. So that is called as the intercepts. And this dot is called the vertex of the parabola. So let us now have this one. Transform y equals x squared minus 4x minus 10 into y equals a times the quantity of x minus h, quantity squared, plus k. So for us to have or to solve this given quadratic function, let us first rewrite this equation, and then the first step is to group together the terms containing x. So as you can see, the variables or the constants who have variable x or this x squared which is 1 and this negative 4x. So, i-group lang natin sila by writing or having the open and close parentheses, and then hindi kabilang sa loob ng parentheses ang constant na negative 10 dahil wala siyang variable na x. Next is to factor out a. Here, a is equal to 1 or yung value ng x squared is 1. So, ganun na lang din yung kalalabasan niya, wherein yung 1 ay nandito sa labas. Third step, make the expression in parentheses a perfect square trinomial by adding the value of a times negative b over 2 quantity squared and subtracting the same value to the constant term since a is equal to 1. So, ito yung value natin ng negative b over 2 quantity squared. Yung a natin is 1. So, maglalagay tayo ng 1 dito times negative, the value of b is negative 4, and then over 2, palagi po siyang divide by 2, and then quantity squared. So, let us now simplify this value. So, magiging positive 4 because negative times negative is positive over 2 quantity squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So, 2 squared is equal to 4. Next, yung 4 ay i-add na natin sa binomial na ito para maging perfect square trinomial at ima-minus naman natin sa constant na negative 10. So, magiging y equals x squared minus 4x plus 10 minus 10 minus 4. Again, yung nakuha natin sagot dito kanina ay pinlas natin para maging perfect square trinomial and minus natin sa constant na negative 10. So, fourth step is to simplify. So, magiging x squared minus 4x plus 4. So, negative 10 minus 4 is negative 14. Last step is to express the perfect square trinomial into square of binomial. So, since perfect square na ang trinomial na ito, so let us now have this as square of a binomial. So, magiging y equals x minus 2 quantity squared minus 14. Because negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4. So, ito na yung nakuha nating form for y equals a times the quantity of x minus h quantity squared minus 14. Pwede pa nating i-transform ang given quadratic function na ito into y equals a times the quantity of x minus h squared plus k by applying the formulas, h equals negative b over 2a para makuha natin yung h. And then for the k, that is the constant. So the formula is 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So dito, apply lang natin yung formula, yung dalawang formulas, instead of using or finding the perfect square trinomial na ginawa natin kanina. So, for the solution, in the equation y equals x squared minus 4x minus 10, a equals 1 because walang katabi na constant or numerical coefficient. So, automatic that is 1. B is negative 4 and C is negative 10. So, ang values ng A, B, and C ay isa-substitute lang natin sa formula ng H and K. So, dun muna tayo sa H. So let us just substitute the values. H equals negative times negative 4 because the value of B is negative 4. Hindi natin aalisin ang negative sign dahil iyon yung nasa formula over 2 times 1. So let us now simplify. H equals 4 over 2. Why? Because negative times negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times 1 is positive 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that is the value of H. Next is for the K. So let us use this formula and then substitute the values. 4 times 1 times negative 10 minus negative 4 quantity squared over 4 times 1. Again, A is 1, C is negative 10 like this one, and then minus, and then the value of B is negative 4. Ito yon, ito din yon, squared. Don't forget the square. So let us now simplify. I-multiply natin ang 4 times 1 times negative 10. So that is negative 40. And then, negative 4 times negative 4, since that is squared, that is positive 16. Pero may minus doon, so kopyahin natin yung minus. And then, positive 16 over 4 times 1 is 4. So let us simplify this. So, negative 40 minus 16 is negative 56 divided by 4, that is negative 14. So, the value of k is negative 14. Ngayon, yung nakuha nating value ng h at k na 2 at negative 14 ay isa-substitute lamang natin sa formula na ito. Wherein a is 1 dahil x squared. And then, kopyahin yung x and then minus. Nakuha nating sagot sa h ay 2. And then, yung positive k, which is negative 14, so magiging ganito yung sagot. Y equals x minus 2 quantity squared minus 14. Let's have another example. Transform y equals 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 into y equals a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. So for our solution, first, group together the terms containing x. So in here, since may variable x ang 3x squared and negative 4x, so iyon yung i-group natin using the open and close parentheses. And then, i-factor out natin or ihiwalay natin yung positive 1 dahil wala siyang variable x. Second step is to factor out a. So here, a is equal to 3. So, i-factor out natin yung 3. So, ilalabas natin yung 3 ng 3x squared at ng negative 4x. So, magiging y equals 3 times the quantity of x squared minus 4 over 3x. Paano naging 4 over 3 yung negative 4x? Because 3 times negative 4 over 3 is negative 4x. And then, sa 3x squared, inalis lang natin or finactor out lang natin yung 3 because 3 times 1 na nandito is 3. And then next is to make the expression in parentheses a perfect square trinomial by adding the constant a times negative b over 2 quantity squared and subtracting the same value to the constant term. So, since a is equal to 3. So, isolve muna natin ito para maging perfect square trinomial ang binomial na ito. So, magiging 3 times negative ng negative b times negative 4 over 3 over 2 quantity squared. So, isimplify natin ang nasa loob ng parenthesis na ito. So, since negative times negative is positive, so ang negative 4 thirds ay magiging positive 4 thirds, and then i-divide natin sa 2, so magiging 4 over 6, because 4 thirds divided by positive 2 is 4 over 6. And then, kopyahin natin yung 3 na constant, which is yung A, quantity squared. So, i-simplify na natin muna itong 4 over 6. So, i-lowest term natin. So, magiging 3 times 2 thirds over times the quantity of 2. Because parehong divisible ang 4 at 6 sa 2. So, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So, na-lowest term na natin. So, itong nakuha nating constant na ito ay i-add na natin sa ating binomial and i-subtract sa constant. So, magiging ganyan. Y equals 3, ito yan, kinokopya lang natin, times x squared minus 4 over 3x plus, yung nakuha natin kanina na 2 thirds quantity squared. Question, bakit hindi na napasama o bakit hindi na natin sinulat ang 3 na ito dito? Ito ay dahil meron ng 3 dito sa labas ng ating trinomial. So, hindi na natin isusulat pa dito dahil madodoble yung constant na a, which is yung 3. So, ganyan lang. Plus 1, ito yon, and then, i-minus natin yung nakuha natin ito. So, 3 times 2 thirds quantity squared. Bakit kabilang ang 3 dito sa tabi ng constant na positive 1? Ito ay dahil wala pang positive 3 dito. Hindi katulad nung nandito. Okay, next is to simplify. So, i-simplify na natin ang trinomial na ito at ang mga constant na ito. So, magiging y equals 3 times x squared minus 4 over 3x or 4 thirds x plus 2 squared is 4 and 3 squared is 9. So, naging 4 over 9. Plus 1 minus 3 times 2 thirds is 4 thirds. Sorry, 3 times 2 times 2 is 4 dahil 2 squared. And 3 times 3 is 9. So, naging 4 over 9 yan, katulad nito. Pero, minultiply pa natin siya sa 3 since may constant dito. So, 4 over 9 times 3 is 4 over 3. And then, kinopya lang natin yung subtraction. Last is to express the perfect square trinomial into square of binomial. So, ang gagawin lang natin ay i-square lang natin yung 4 and 9. So, magiging, the final answer is y equals 3 times x minus 2 thirds quantity squared minus 1 third. Again, kinuha lang natin yung square root ng 4, ito yun, and then kinuha natin yung square root ng 9, which is 3. Because negative 2 thirds squared is positive 4 over 9. And then negative 2 thirds plus negative 2 thirds is equal to negative 4 thirds. And then positive 1 or whole number of 1 minus 4 over 3 is negative 1 third. But then again, meron shortcut kung paano natin matatransform ang given quadratic function na ito in this form. By applying the formulas, h equals negative b over 2a and k equals 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So for our solution, let us assume or let us determine the values of a, b, and c. So the given values of a, b, and c in this quadratic function are a equals 3, b equals negative 4, and c is positive 1. So let us first find the value of h. Substitute the given values on the formula. H equals negative times negative 4 because the value of b is negative 4 over 2 times positive 3 which is the value of a. Next is to simplify. Negative times negative 4 is positive 4 over 2 times 3 is 6. Next, since kaya pang i-simplify ang 4 over 6 at kaya silang i-divide sa 2, therefore, the value of h is 2 thirds. Next is the value of k. Let us now substitute the values in the formula. 4 times 3 times 1 minus negative 4 squared over 4 over 3. Let us now simplify. 4 times 3 times 1 is 12 minus negative 4 squared is positive 60 over 4 times 3 is 12, yung ating denominator. So let us now simplify this. 12 minus 16 is negative 4 over 12. So, since kaya a lowest term ang negative 4 over 12, so the value of k is negative 1/3. So, i-simplify or i-substitute na natin ang values ng h na nakuha natin at ng k dun sa ating equation. So, magiging y equals 3 dahil iyon yung a natin o yung numerical coefficient ng x squared times x, palagi po siyang x, minus, palaging minus dahil ito yung susundan nating formula. And then yung nakuha nating value ng h is 2/3 quantity squared plus k. So dahil negative ang nakuha nating value ng k, huwag na nating ilagay yung plus dito. So palitan natin ng minus 1/3. So that is the shortcut dun sa nakuha nating value kanina by completing the square. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this lesson about quadratic functions. So quadratic function is a second-degree polynomial represented as f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, or y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, wherein a must not be equal to 0, and a, b, and c must be real numbers. Next, to transform y equals ax squared plus bx plus c to y equals a times x minus h quantity squared plus k, first is to group together the terms containing x. Second is to factor out a. If ang numerical coefficient of x squared is 5, so ifa-factor out natin yung 5 sa given quadratic function. Third, make the expression in parentheses a perfect square trinomial by adding the constant a times negative b over 2 quantity squared and subtracting the same value to the constant. And then simplify, and the last is to express the perfect square trinomial into square of binomial. Pero, pwede nating i-transform ang quadratic function into y equals a times the quantity of x minus h squared plus k by using the formulas h equals negative b over 2a and k equals 4ac minus b squared over 4a. Kapag na-calculate na natin yung values ng h at k, isa-substitute na natin yung values na yon dito sa ating quadratic function at iyon na yung kanyang sagot. So, sana ay natutunan nyo ang tungkol sa quadratic functions. Thank you for watching. If you have questions or suggestions, feel free to comment below. Enjoy learning mathematics. God bless us all!